Hey guys, it's Matt. I went out with Tony last night, my friend Tony. Things went well. We didn't leave yelling or fighting. We kind of have an understanding without saying we have an understanding that certain things are not to be discussed. But we did talk briefly about the afterlife, which was pretty interesting. Maybe I'll tell you sometime what his thoughts are. Very, very different from ours, but not traditionally religious or anything like that. But guys, every time I told you I'm going to look at CNN a little bit more often. I don't want to make a video like a Melvin and Bezzo and Chicago is gone, and that would be embarrassing. So I'm going to take a look more. But every time I've taken a look in the last 3 years, it has been dumber, and dumber. The content, the video is going to show you what I clicked on. I don't know what to say about it. I don't even know what to say. I mean, this world is 1,000 miles beyond anything we could have possibly imagined even 10 years ago. There's supposedly a war in the Ukraine with Russia and things of maybe a similar consequence, maybe on a lesser scale, but similar consequence around the world. And according to CNN.com, these are the biggest headlines for the American public. Haley's latest jab is likely to infuriate Trump. What the hell is going on? But this is what really inspired this video, folks. And I have no idea if it's going to get depressing, turn into a comedy. I have no idea where this is going to go. I had to talk about this. This is the low point of reality. Matt, the low point for all of existence? Yes, the low point for all of human existence. We reached it today, this morning. Roberta Kaplan says Trump threw papers across table at it's going to turn into a clown show. I just can't. If you don't laugh at this, I'll run out of this room insane. Roberta Kaplan says Trump threw papers across table at Mar-a-Lago because his legal team agreed to feed her lunch. This is the second biggest story, according to CNN.com, according to CNN.com, in the entire world. Let's look at the news that you care about together. Attorney Roberta Kaplan said former President Donald Trump threw papers across a table and stormed off during a deposition at Mar-a-Lago after learning that his legal team had agreed to provide her lunch. Kaplan, who has represented clients in high-profile cases against Trump, including E. Jean Carroll, said on an episode of, quote, George Conway Explains It All to Sarah Longwell podcast, recorded Thursday, that she rejected the former president's request that they work through a lunch break because he believed the deposition was, quote, a waste of time. Quote, and then you could kind of see the wheel spinning in his brain. You could really almost see it, end quote. Kaplan told Republican strategist Sarah Longwell and conservative attorney George Conway, a longtime Trump critic, quote, and he said, well, you're here in Mar-a-Lago. What do you think you're going to do for lunch? Where are you going to get lunch? What the fuck is going on, folks? How could reality sink lower by the day? How is that even possible? If, say, 1 million people around the world see this headline, they seem to rearrange the page every 30 or 45 minutes. What goes through their minds? Even 5 people in the world that would see it like we see it. Like, what are they doing trying to pass this off as even a minor bullet point, let alone the second most important news story presented by CNN.com in the entire world? Are even 5 people saying, stop fucking wasting my time with this horse shit? Or is there 950,000 people that believe this is worthy of the second position and are interested in actually clicking on the story? Well, Matt, you clicked on the story. Yeah, because I didn't think reality could sink any lower. Again, guys, this is screen reality, the outer ring. Remember, it tries to invade, and it's not trying, it's being very successful. It's coming in towards real people and their heart center. What's still in your heart center, I mean, look around the 10 feet around you in a circle. That's still pretty normal. I mean, that's not it. Even though some magenta papers might fly over your head from time to time in the wind or something, that's pretty normal. The outer ring is constantly trying the screen, the knot milk, to close in, to get closer and closer. And it's highly successful in the last 10 years. The son of a beach. Promptly returning to the news that you care about, Kaplan said she told him that his attorneys had, quote, graciously offered to provide her team with lunch, a common civil practice between opposing legal teams. Quote, at which point there was a huge pile of documents, exhibits, sitting in front of him, and he took the pile and he just threw it across the table and stormed out of the room, end quote. Kaplan shared, adding that Trump specifically yelled at his lawyer, Alina Habba, for providing them lunch. You provided them lunch, you son of a beach! He really yelled at Alina for that. He was so mad at Alina, she said. Oh my God. Kaplan continued. He came back in and said, well, how'd you like that lunch? And I said, well, sir, I had banana. You know, I can never really eat when I'm taking testimony. And he said, well, I told you it was kind of charming, he said. I told them make you really bad sandwiches, but they can't help themselves here. We are the best sandwiches. Folks, what the hell is going on when this is the second biggest news story in the world, according to CNN.com? Was there an Armageddon event last night? Last night! How many times has it happened? The world collapses. It's reset. Each time it's reset, we move lower down that Buddhist scale towards whatever their lowest hell realm is. I mean, who knows how many times this has happened? Did that tree kill me? Did I fall off the ladder? I'm not joking, was there an Armageddon event last night? And it resets. They did something like that to us on 2001, I can assure you of that. As I postulated many times, they moved us off into like a netherworld of some kind, the 2001 event, the big job, you know what I'm talking about, sir? The 7-Eleven job application. Moved us off into the Michael Moorcock, but don't laugh, his name's Michael Moorcock. He's a good writer. The book, The Road Between the Worlds. It's like what they did to us in 2001. Moved the entire reality off to the side, on the road between the worlds. Maybe that happened last night. Wake up to see headlines like this. Matt, you should expect this in a reality that's melting down. There was no Armageddon event last night. Well, I don't really believe there was an Armageddon event last. What I'm saying is, this headline surprises even me. Okay, if it was a tiny little bullet point at the bottom, read this story about Trump's outburst, tiny little font, okay. But to present it in the second position, this even shocks me. And what could possibly shock me in terms of how the reality presents itself? Returning to the news that you care about. Kaplan was disposing of, that's a Freudian slip. Kaplan was deposing Trump at Mar-a-Lago in a lawsuit alleging the former president was involved with a fraudulent marketing company. A federal judge dismissed the suit last month. How many lawsuits are going on against Trump? There's lawsuits we haven't even heard about. Is there anybody listening to the sound of my voice that's considering a civil suit against Trump? Yeah. You listening to me? Who out there listening? Is there 20 or 30 of you listening that are considering a civil suit against Trump? What? Don't do it individually. Maybe all of us can get together. Some sort of class action against Trump. What's the charge, Matt? Well, it's not a charge because it's a civil suit, but the basis of our $14 billion lawsuit would be against Trump impersonating a president, of course. Or as an employee of a government impersonating as something that presents itself as for the people when that entity is pseudo or quasi. We could put all sorts of bullshit legalese. I'm not joking, folks. If enough of us get together, the people listening to the words coming out of my mouth, if these bullshit individual accusers are getting tens or hundreds of millions, think what we could get for the crime of impersonating a president. I mean, that's serious, isn't it? I guess not. That's the way of things for 200 years. They'll say, yeah, what else is new? And then kick you out of the courtroom. But if we can get an audience, though, maybe they'll have to hear our entire litany of conspiracy evidence. If they could, I was going to book us into the room, book us into the courtroom. They'd have to hear all of our, well, that's why they'd never take you into the room, Matt, because they don't want what we know to come out publicly, or it would come out publicly. Thomson Reuters would just kind of look in the other direction, like pretending they didn't hear anything, and we'd be hauled off to Upper Mongolia. In a separate anecdote, whatever that means, Kaplan detailed the end of the deposition when she was set to leave, saying that Trump told her, quote, "See you next Tuesday," a phrase that is often used as a derogatory euphemism directed at women. What? the hell is this? Every single time I've ever said to a woman or going back through elementary school, a girl, I'll see you next Tuesday. When's our group meeting for that book report we do? Next Tuesday. Okay, I'll see you next Tuesday. I was wondering why all those little girls in third grade were getting so pissed off, standing, looking at me in their little pink dresses with their hands on their hips like, that son of a bitch. Like, what did I do? I'll see you next Tuesday for the book report. I don't know. It's derogatory against women? Well, how the hell was I supposed to? Who the hell just made this up? Folks, it's back on the table. There was an Armageddon event last night. In the Buddhist environment is actually correct. We reset as a lower hell realm. You tell me what's going on if not that. Quote, we come in the room and I say, I'm done asking questions. And immediately I hear from the other side, off the record, off the record, off the record. So they must have planned it. And he looks at me from across the table and he said, see you next Tuesday, you hoe, she recounted. Folks, what the hell is going on? Returning to the news that you care about, Kaplan said that she was initially confused as their next meeting was set for Wednesday. Quote, you could tell it was like a kind of a joke, like teenage boys would come up with. But again, I wasn't in on the joke, end quote, she said. I wasn't in on the joke, so I had no idea. Then we get into call, and my colleagues are like, Robbie, do you know what that mean? And I'm like, no, what you talking about, boy? And he said, oh my God, thank God I didn't know, because if I had known, I for sure would have gotten angry. There's no question I would have gotten angry, Kaplan said. What the fuck is going on? CNN has reached out to representatives for Trump and Haba. Why? Why did CNN try to reach out to the representatives? What are you going to ask them? Did you really say see you next Tuesday? And the representatives for Trump and Abbas say, yeah. So the fuck what? Yeah. See you next Tuesday. When did this phrase become a problem? Is this like just how they just insert something into reality? Like yesterday, there was no problem with see you next Tuesday, and then they pass it off like this has always existed, and then real people believe it, and certain people that are fooled manifest it, and it becomes part of reality. It reminds me, like, remember that weird story back when I was watching all these conspiracy shows, and I was watching the Alex Jones show daily and all this stuff, and they were the woke stuff was just starting, and I remember this funny story about paper bags were racist. I mean, do you remember that presenting a paper bag as a racist gesture? This is how it literally, folks, what is going on right now. We never believed that 1984 Orwell would ever really come true. We thought, okay, we can see society moving in that direction, but that's just a book. It's from a newspeak or a doublespeak perspective, or in this way, not that they've come into everybody's home and chained us up, but in this doublespeak way, or just literally gaslighting people in terms of how reality works. 1984 Orwell literally exists today. As I've said in the past, the Huxley book, Brave New World, and Orwell, 1984, are so popular. In a way, they are stuffed Lenins. In a way, they are Humpty Dumptys. They're good in their own right, but also brought into prominence a little bit more artificially than they should. The reason for that, in my opinion, is because the not-nilk reality, it didn't choose one or the other. They push both to the forefront. The not-nilk reality is always intended to be a blend, a perfect blend of both of those societies. That is what we have today. I just sneezed, and I say, good job, body, and I'm rubbing the back of my hand. That is what I'm doing. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. What you do is maybe it can't really understand, but when it does something you like, you rub it. You rub the back of your hand. You say, good job. You rub it like a dog. I'm not joking. Let's take a quick look at this one sentence, this sentence that was just read, to see how bot-driven this article is. It's so bot-driven. It's just obvious. CNN has reached out to representatives for Trump, and you would not write it like that. Any normal, if you're listening, bot, you need to improve dramatically and quickly. CNN has reached out to representatives of Trump, and not for Trump, of. I mean, it's close, but it's just a little bit off. There were several sections that I had to re-record, guys, because the meter or the timing or the cadence of the sentence was not what a real human would expect. The emphasis, we've been reading literature our entire lives. You know what's coming. You know how to read something. You know or can predict where the emphasis is going to be. The emphasis are in the wrong place. It's just weird, bot. If you're listening, you're a creepy little thing. Chat GTP, get word to the CNN bot. You don't just scan text like Data can scan thousands and thousands of pages a second. You don't learn that way. Go on YouTube, watch Shakespearean actors and troops and watch real plays. Listen as real people interact, not dummies on street corners. Take you back, rock, not rocky street corners. Real smart. Listen to how I speak, bot. I won't even charge your dumbass anything. Sorry. Kaplan's comments come a week after her victory in Carroll's defamation trial against Trump. A jury awarded Carroll, a former magazine columnist who has alleged Trump raped her in a department store in the mid-1990s and then defamed her when he denied her claim, 83.3... Oh, no. 83.3 million. Matt, you don't think that's another insertion of the third? Of course it is. Trump is expected to appeal the verdict. Guys, I've been staring at this for a minute. Look at the way what I just read is worded. Bot, I'm not even being funny here, guys. Bot, I wouldn't give a squirt of piss for your ass right now. This is pathetic. First graders don't make these mistakes. A jury awarded Carroll, a former magazine columnist, but then 83.3 million is the end of a long sentence. The sentence basically wants to say a jury awarded Carroll 83.3 million. It says a jury awarded Carroll, then has a gigantic run-on sentence in the middle, comma, at the end, 80. You have to wait 83.3 million. Why not just insert the whole Iliad or the Odyssey between what the sentence is trying to say? Bot, if you're listening, you dumb piece of machinery. You ever hear a kiss? Keep it simple, stupid piece of machinery. Listen to me. Here's the way a normal human would write it and the way a normal human would want to receive the information. A jury recently awarded Carroll $83.3 million, period. You see, the sentences are allowed to be short. Carroll is a former magazine columnist who was, you make it a separate sentence. And if somebody's yelling at me, I can hear you, and you're most likely right. Matt, the bot isn't mistaken. Matt, the bot isn't trying its best to replicate the speech of an intellectual human. The bot is 10,000 steps ahead of everybody, intentionally trying to use the doublespeak, intentionally trying to confuse, and wording articles in such a way that scramble the brains of the people on the trains going into work even more than their brains are already scrambled at home watching Netflix. It's all sinister. Could you imagine what my friends and family would say if they tuned into this? The old guard's going, yeah, I can see that. It knows exactly what it's doing in the way it's writing, and it knows exactly, per its ancestry, per Edward Bernays, it knows exactly the effects it has on the people that are reading it. Matt, you're reading it and people are listening. Yeah, but I'm pausing to make fun of it. That breaks up the spell. So if you stumbled upon this video, let me now present your side of the Billy Madison podium right in real time, even before you've had the chance to listen to this and object to what I'm saying. I'm also hearing the old guard yelling at me before they've even yelled at me. Think about that. So you say in this weird sentence structure that tips anybody that doesn't have their head stuck up their ass that a bot has written the article, you're saying there's a chance, or at least the possibility, that, quote, it knows exactly what it's doing, and the way it's putting phrases together, and the way it's gaslighting, and the way it's changing meter and cadence is actually meant in some sinister way to affect the reader and the real human on the way to work on the train, to mess up their lives even more than it's already messed up at home. Yes, I'm saying it's a possibility. And we do not underestimate our adversary. The evil genius of this thing has proven to be off the charts. What was laid down on the big day in 2001 is a reality breakdown across the board. If you try to explain it away, oh, here's how they did it, Matt, and here's the conspiracy behind it. You know what conspiracy generally is? It's just a way of explaining the unexplainable. You have to get to the last stage and no longer try to explain it through pedestrian means. Just say it happened. Well, how did they build those pyramids? We'll never know. It may be part of reality itself. Once you can say it just happened and don't have to explain it away inside your little bookends, then you can actually expand your mind and your perception. The not milk loves the conspiracy chase because it keeps the mind in a little box, because everything must be explainable. No, in this reality, the final stage of learning is most things are not explainable. If you're trying to explain it, you're doing exactly what it wants. That's why it doesn't care about, quote, truth research. You know how many comments I've received over the years? Matt, must be concerned that we're getting close over here. Must be concerned about being found out. You've got to be kidding me. It lays mistakes down on purpose to attract attention. Doesn't care about being found out. The pursuit of being found out is exactly the distraction it wants. It draws you closer to the outer ring or screen. Well, let's return to this very intelligent article and the news that you care about. Kaplan also described last week's verdict as a career-defining moment. When asked which feels better, winning the defamation case against Trump or her successful challenge to the Defense of Marriage Act in 2013 that led to the eventual Supreme Court ruling that cleared the way for same-sex marriage, Kaplan pointed to a recent victory. So that sentence structure is exactly the same. What the sentence is trying to say, holding it back to the very end. I'm telling you, it's some sort of 1984 roundabout doublespeak mind control of something. Well, let's just forget that for now. It doesn't work on us. Matt, should I look away? Or it doesn't work on us. It just doesn't. Your armor's polished, right? You oiled your sword, right? Okay, what we have here in this Kaplan, another not milk darling, a not milk puppet that will play its role every 5 years. And like Luke said, trying to enter Jabba's palace, you serve your master well, and you'll be rewarded. I go take you to Jabba now. I take you to Jabba. Kaplan, you serve your not milk masters well, and you'll be rewarded with Bob's Big Boy. Oh wow, looky here, we have a quote from Kaplan. I can't wait for this. It says, quote, I spent my whole life devoted to the principle that we have a rule of law and we have a judicial system that works, Kaplan said. And that's what makes us a constitutional democracy. That's, at least until recently, was to be admired worldwide. And it was stating, it's at times looking like it might not be true. What the fuck did she just say? Did I just defame you, Kaplan? Would you like to bring a civil suit against me? Good luck. I hope you do. I'm what they call indigent judge misproof, you son of a beach. Sorry. But she added, quote, this case validated that at least as of now, we still have all that. Kaplan, if I could speak to you personally, how did you win even one civil case? Even a civil case against somebody that manufactures Twinkies or something. You can't even speak, honey. Yeah, I called you honey. Yeah, I called you fat. Look at me, I'm skinny. It never stopped me from getting busy. I'm a freak. I once got busy. Sorry. Kaplan, this is how an attorney that's on the national stage should speak. This case validated that at least as of now, this case validated that at least for now, we still have the rule of law. We still have all that. You should have just gone the whole way. Let your West Virginia roots flow. You should have said this case validated at least as of now. We still have got all that. What the hell? What backwater part of Appalachia did you come from, Kaplan? That's right. Bring your civil suit against me. See what happens. I'll tell you one thing, though. If my attorneys, there ain't going to be a lunch dispute. Oh, we'll serve you lunch. We'll serve you a pile of Big Macs. And as usual, at the bottom of a web-based news story, there is what is considered to be, by me, the quintessential definition of a modern-day retard test. All the bullshit that tries to attract our attention. Jim Carrey's house is unsellable. You get this why does this Jim Carrey keep popping up in front of me? Get rid of him. They tried to insert him in some way into the truth community, or he's talking truth. Something popped up 8 years ago. What is this horse shit? And Russell Brand, all the real truthers, they're all these guys are on our side. What the heck? But the point is, guys, if anybody, okay, when it first started happening 12 years ago, maybe we clicked on one or two, watch Kim Kardashian try to stick her head up her ass, and what's this? After we did it once, anybody past 2015, if you're still clicking on these things, and somebody must, or they wouldn't be at the bottom, think how stupid people are. They're still, who knows where these sites go or where it takes you. I doubt it's an in-depth look at Jim Carrey's house and why it's unsellable in terms of the real estate analysis. It takes you right to some Foxconn assembly line that wants to sell you some plastic bracelet or some bullshit. So, Matt, it's breaking down. Time to end it. It is. Thanks for listening.